Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ladies Lounge. I'm Candace.
Hi, I'm Khadi B.
I'm your girl, Candy Washington.
And this is the Ladies Lounge where we have our kiki on some serious topics and things. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. We give our perspectives, 3 different perspectives on serious topics and also hot topics as well. So I do want to acknowledge everyone that's here so far. Hi, my small space. You said this is going to be good. My kind of content. 100.
Yes.
Khadi B in the comments. Yes. Hey, Nikki Pooh.
Hey, Nikki Pooh.
Hey, Sophisticated Brat. And hey, Sharon.
Hey,
Dropping
Sharon.
in the chat. Hey, the Real Estate Insider. Make sure you follow him. This is my male best friend.
Hello.
Yes, congratulations on reaching 10K subscribers a few days.
Nice. Congrats.
Hey, Samaya.
Hey, Samaya.
And hey, the Vegas girl.
Vegas girl.
Hey, Chi-Town Naja girl.
Hey, Chi-Town Naja girl.
Dropping that candy in the chat. Hey, Cat in the chat.
Hey, Cat in the chat.
So we are going to get right into it. The topics are a little bit more serious today. No more beef talk like last week. That was serious in itself. But first of all, well, before we get started, how was you ladies' weekend?
You go, Khadi.
Okay, all right. Had a pretty good weekend. I guess I'm just not the party animal. I don't be doing much. Today though, I guess somebody might have hit a pole or something because I was without power for a while. So I was like in my car checking the YouTube streets or whatever. But other than that, it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Shout out to the real estate.
Yes.
Super chat. Thank you. So for me, it wasn't this weekend, but last week I was working on solidifying and researching this really great interview that I got to do with this woman called Rose Catherine Pinkney. She has over 30 years experience being a TV exec. She is the senior vice president and head of development at BET. So she is a big deal. She's worked at Paramount, 20th Century Fox, TV One. She's worked on Girlfriends and Being Mary Jane, like all the Black shows, all on BET. And I was lucky enough to have the chance to interview her for my YouTube and my podcast. So I was just fangirling and just all the Black girl magic and just so excited about everything. So that was my week. I was really excited for that. So now I'm back on YouTube because I got that done. But yeah, so a lot of gems.
Totally checked it out too. I watched.
Yeah.
I need to watch it. I'm gonna watch it. But congratulations on that. And Khadi B, I'm glad your power's back on.
I know.
My weekend, it was very uneventful. I got to just hang around the house with my kids, my family, and sleep. Usually my weekend is my me time to kind of be off YouTube and spend some time with my family. So nice. I had a great time. I did want to say hello to Reparations.
Hey, Reparations.
Avielle, she's one of my moderators, and the Queen of Cheesecake is my moderator. She's not here yet, and my kiddo. So we're going to get started with the topics. And yes, make sure you hit that like button. The first topic that I do want to talk about is the colorism, featurism. What made me think about this title a few weeks ago, I don't know if you guys saw, Too Short was in the news. He did an interview with Saweetie, and he said he's never fallen in love with someone other than a mixed woman. And then he said it's interesting or good how when 2 ugly people come together from different races, they can make a baby that's beautiful. And he also said he's not accustomed to anything but mixed women because of the Bay Area. He said that's all that they have. And so, of course, Saweetie, I don't believe she agreed, but this is like a common theme and a common issue in our community at times. And a lot of times this mindset starts with men. No offense, men, but I really feel like they're the ones that kind of push this mindset. So I'll start with you, Candy. What are your thoughts on this?
First, I don't know who Too Short is, but is Too Short dating Saweetie?
He's a rapper.
He's a rapper.
He's an old school rapper.
Okay.
He started in the 80s, so he had a lot of his what's that song? Blow Your Whistle.
And is he dark? And is he darker skinned or lighter skinned or middle skinned? He's darker skinned.
He's middle skinned. He's brown.
Middle skinned. Okay, so I'll just speak to this in general. I think colorism and featurism is a byproduct of slavery.
Yes.
Where I think that with the whole slave trade, especially in America, you had the house slaves, you had the field slaves, you had good hair, certain features that if you looked more European, if you looked more westernized, if you looked more Caucasian, those were the more desired traits, and you would be treated better. You had more opportunities. People wanted to pass. So I think it's rooted in slavery, and it's just an internalized version of racism. So to me, colorism is internalized racism. And when people say, oh, that's what I'm attracted to, that's what I fall in love with, I think a lot of that also has to do with the media. I think for a very, very long time, whether it was conscious racism or just unconscious bias, people put out there what they thought was beauty. So if you have European people or Caucasian people are the ones who are deciding who's going on the magazines, who's going to be on television, who is going to be the societal version of beauty, and that is what you're fed, and that is what you are conditioned to believe, then of course when you go out in the world and you see someone who reflects what slavery chose to be better than, or what the media is telling you is better than, or whatever, then that's what you are subconsciously programmed to go towards. So I think it's a byproduct of the media. I think it's a byproduct of slavery. But with all that being said, I think it's an individual person's responsibility to check their own biases, regardless of what color you are, and to know that beauty comes in all shapes and sizes and all different shades. So maybe the conditioning wasn't your fault, but the reprogramming is your responsibility.
Right. Khadi B.
Yes, Candy, like beautifully said. It is a byproduct of slavery, and it was conditioned into us. It actually was a very good job done on us by the clearer folks, right? Yeah. Now, the only thing I see in the Bay Area is like that's just not even true. Yeah, sure, when you're around the southern part of the country, especially around the waters, you get to see more types of people. I mean, that's understandable, but to say that that's just all I see, that's all I deal with, it does speak a little. He also said, I've never falling in love, and I don't think that I ever could fall in love with a like completely Black person. And that more to me than saying, hey, I just like me the mixed persuasion, that more to me says that he has an internal issue with himself and with his people, because he's already have it in his mind that it don't matter what a Black woman looks like. It doesn't matter how she acts, what her personality is, anything about her, because everything that she is not what he wants.
Right. I agree. Going back to Mo Walker's question, is it the media or is it self-inflicted? So I agree with my kiddo with both, because the reason why I say both, that is self-inflicted, going back to slavery and even Reconstruction, when we're free, we set up these organizations like Jack and Jill. We had the paper bag test, different things that had nothing to do with the media. It was us. And so for some reason, we took the white standard of beauty and put it on what we look like. And so, and I'll talk more about the organizations when we get to the Black elitist mentality. But colorism has been an issue for a long time. People are now realizing that featurism is an issue. And so featurism is having more European features, the your hair straighter or curlier. And even when you look at filters, have you ever noticed filters always make your nose thinner? Like that's why I don't like using filters sometimes, because I want to keep my nose.
What it was created by.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I want to say, I loved what both of you said, and I wanted to say something to what Khadi brought up, which I thought was really smart. When he said, I can never see myself falling in love with a woman who wasn't this mixed or whatever. Well, I would ask Too Short, do you actually know what love is? Because maybe you're saying love, but you're actually equating that with attraction or lust or whatever it is. I don't think that if you actually knew what unconditional, true love, authentic love was, you wouldn't put a color on it. Because you can have true, authentic love with someone who doesn't look like this mixed girl on the cover of something. So my question to Too Short would be like, well, how are you defining love? And do you know what healthy, authentic love even looks and feels like? Because you don't equate that with somebody's color of their skin. And then I also loved what Candace was saying about them, and then like the media and the Jack and Jill. And even though Jack and Jill wasn't necessarily the media, it was still media is just one type of propaganda. So it's just what the white people or Caucasian people during slavery, just whatever their narrative, what their propaganda was, and it's self-inflicted to me. I don't think it's self-inflicted. I think it then becomes internalized. And what internalized means that now you believe that to be true about you. And then you see, and then that is the lens from which you see the world. So it's not necessarily self-inflicted, but it's become internalized that now your belief is that white is right. So that's really what it is. So when you internalize that, then you're going to create things like Jack and Jill. Then you're going to be like a Too Short who's just like, well, I can't fall in love with dark-skinned women, because you've internalized that narrative, and now that's what you believe to be true.
Yeah, I agree, Candy. It's like brainwashing or reprogramming, right? The white people reprogrammed us, and they had a extremely long time to do this, so much so that it was passed down. Like I said, it was ingenious, it was sinister, but it was ingenious in its design because it's still effective after all these years. And I don't necessarily think that we are responsible, but we have to first understand what was done to us and then acknowledge it, because some people still can't even acknowledge. They acknowledge racism, right? But they cannot see the colorism. So if you can't acknowledge it, then how are we going to get ourselves out of it?
Exactly. And that takes us back to The Color Purple. You know, she talked about the problem or the sexism between black women and black men just alone, and then also the racism that we felt in the country as well. And so that is some colorism themes in that. Suge Avery, even though she's browner, she was looked at as more beautiful than Celie. So Nettie had more beautiful features than Celie. So there's featurism and colorism in that. Going back to Too Short, I just find it funny that he's saying it's nothing but mixed people in Oakland, but he's not mixed. I thought about that, like, okay,
it's not true.
So I'm sure it is like, I'm sure there are other people that look like you, Too Short. It's not all mixed people there. So it's just interesting. I definitely feel like he does not like the blackness of himself. And so being an entertainer, he's had the opportunity to, in his mind, date what he considers high caliber women, which are non-black women or mixed women.
I think it is so weird. Like everything about our design is for like our survivor. Our melanin protects us from the sun. The way that our hair curls protects us from the sun. Literally everything about us is positive, but it has been spun to be some weird negative, as if this straight, stringy hair is like ideal when it doesn't protect you. The pale skin doesn't protect you. So how is that what you want how is that better? How is that better than something that was designed for you to be popping out in the sunlight, basically? Like,
I think you're taking, like, you're doing it from a very logical and rational perspective, but racism and colorism is not logical, and it is not rational. And I think the reason why they took our features and tried to make them less than was a way to dehumanize us, was a way to equate us to monkeys and apes. Oh, you have dark skin. Oh, you have the curly, kinky hair. Oh, nappy. Oh, you have got the big nose, wide lips. Oh, you look like a monkey. You look like an ape. You look like this. You look like that. It was a way to dehumanize us. And it was a way for them to feel like they were better than and elevated. Oh, like we're more sophisticated, we're smarter, we have fairer skin, this hair, oh, blah, blah, blah. We're more civilized, which is completely BS. At the end of the day, we're all human beings. Within all cultures, all races, you have people who are extremely intelligent. You have people who are extremely sophisticated. And then you also have the opposite of that. Color does not equate worth or intelligence or beauty or any of those things. But I think it was a good way for them to justify slavery and justify abusing us and justify killing us and justify R-wording us, because if they can make us less than human, then somehow it makes what they're doing not immoral. And then now present day, right? Because again, it goes again to what are you conditioned to believe is what is desirable. So now all of a sudden, having big lips, having a big waist, all of this stuff is desirable, just as long as your skin isn't too dark. As long as you still kind of have that ethnically ambiguous look, that Kardashian BS, that whatever it is. Oh, you want to praise our features, but not on our skin. And that's another way that they appropriate our culture and our beauty and our magic and our uniqueness. And so it just showed. And then again, that's why you also have beauty trends and fashion trends. So there is no one way that is beauty, or else that would just be the standard. But remember, like some models are like really thin, so it was like thin is like what's really in, then you get more busty, then you get more this. But then you go to all the other cultures, and women with like big bellies and big booties, they're coveted because it means that they have enough money to eat. And that's actually a sign of what is beauty and what is luxury and what is opulent. So I think that they try to dehumanize us by saying how we are and how we look is less than, when that is simply not the case.
Yes. You both of y'all said a word. I want to get to some of these comments. So Sophisticated Brad said, a lot of people refuse to believe me when I said I was Black. They would say, but look at your hair, OMG. Yeah, they do that often. I don't know why people associate, it just seems like anything that looks like our features is negative, or what they consider our features. If it is more European, they refuse to believe that there is Blackness there. I can think about myself, and my natural hair is very curly, very coiled, and I go to the nail salon, and the Asian lady is like, where are you from? This was here in Georgia. I said, oh, I'm from Wisconsin. And she was like, no, what country? I said, the US. And she was like, oh, not India? I said, no, I'm not. Not India. She was like, that was like crazy. But she was like, you don't look like normal Black people here. And I said, that's kind of offensive.
Extremely.
So it's just, I just wish for us that people wouldn't try to guess our race.
I can't. Girl.
And it can be very, very offensive. And so with Sophisticated Brat, being a mixed woman, I definitely can understand where you're coming. I'm not mixed, but being a mixed woman, I can definitely understand where you're coming from with that.
But see, like even 100% pure Africans, they hair come in different textures. I don't know where they get this from. We have different textures, including straight.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I don't know if I talked about this before, how I I had this conversation, which almost turned into an argument with a person who literally thought that our varying skin tones was because of white people.
No,
it's not true. No. I'm like, they did not create us. We were here first. We have ranged in varying shades of color and varying textures of hair. Now, what's interesting though, Candace, couple years back, I lived in Atlanta for like 3 years. I was at this job. I was out, and I think I was in like an Asian community, and this lady stopped me and asked me if I was Vietnamese. I assumed she was Vietnamese too. I was just like,
what?
Bitch, I'm black.
What people don't realize though, like even with indigenous people in other countries, they come in different shades. And so I read a book called Burmese Days, and those were darker Asian people, and they were treated like black people. And so it's people all over the place that come in different shades. And I think that's what people have a problem with. It's not as black and white as the mind would want you to think, because it's almost like we're going against what we were taught in school. In school, we're taught that it's just this set of people and this set of people, and they don't focus on the different cultures. And that's one thing that I want to educate my children on. Like, it's a lot of different people out there, and we are beautiful in all types of shades.
Yes. Yeah, and black people have straight hair, and there's some white people with some kinky nappy hair too. Like, it just goes both. It goes all the ways. No one group is monolithic, and no group is all of one thing. And there's beauty in every single group. And I think when we remember that we're all human beings, we all come from the same place, and that we're all connected and we're not divided. That to me is it. And then that's when you learn to love yourself.
Yes, I want to go back to some of these other comments, because it was some good comments made. So Chi-Town, Naja Girl said, it's funny to me how they talked about our looks and features, but go out and get surgeries and implants to look like us.
Exactly.
Yes. You know that saying, what they said, they want to look like us, but they don't want our struggle, right? It's okay to be black until it's time to
you have to be black.
You're actually black, yes. And hey, BB, shout out to BB. She said, I just learned, but Khadi is so gorgeous.
Yeah.
Mo Walker said, we say those comments to each other and about each other, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we do.
And hello to my auntie. Thank you. Sophisticated Brad says, speaking for myself, my mom is Italian and my father is black. I rarely brought friends home because I was ashamed my mom was white. So that's sad that you had to go through that. Samaya said, even though it wasn't said outwardly, you saw how being lighter skinned won you status in that organization. I felt gross. She's talking about the Jack and Jill. Yeah, I heard a lot of not so good stories about that organization. Let me go down to some of the other ones. Samaya said, we have the same in the Philippines, an entire Black Filipino community.
Yeah.
Yes. And Denise said, I'm having a hard time getting my kids in their 40s to acknowledge their white light privilege. They have black parents, but we're often mistaken for biracial. Interesting. And Sophisticated Brad, I had one brother and two sisters. My brother and one sister were whiter skin, and myself lighter black skin, and my youngest sister darker. People thought myself and youngest sister were adopted. Wow. Yeah, people can be
so ignorant
at times.
So ignorant.
This is a topic we can go on and on and on about this. I want to get to some of the other topics, but it's a very heavy topic that we may revisit in another show, because it's like very complex and can be broken down.
Really down.
One last comment on this. Walker said, by the way, both of my parents are black, and in our family we come in all hues: dark, tan, light, bright, and damn near white. Yes. And I think that's just the black community as a whole. Yes. We come in very different shades. So, but let's go to, I want to go to the black elitist mentality, and we'll talk about the topic last. So the black elitist mentality, this of course comes from, the groups like Jack and Jill. One thing that makes me think about this, I graduated from Tuskegee University, founded by, it was started with Booker T. Washington. It wasn't founded by him, but he was the first president of the school. And so Booker T. Washington had a movement called the Talented 10th, where he felt like there were a select group of Black people that should represent the Black race. And anybody that was a darker hue or didn't have a certain amount of money should not represent us. Even though he started Tuskegee, which was a school that was built by the slaves of Tuskegee, Alabama, I always disagreed with his views. I love my school, but Booker T. Washington, I do not like. I respect his story, but he had a lot of messed up views when he was president of Tuskegee, or as his title was back then, was principal. When he was principal, he set up where he wanted to teach people farming. He wanted to put Black people in jobs that were manual versus doctors and lawyers and engineers, what we offer now. But he felt like he was doing us a good service and white people a good service by keeping us in jobs that were like farming and taking care of land, basically what we were doing as slaves. So this mentality kind of comes from people like him and other African Americans at that time, and we still have it today. We have a certain somebody calling themselves a high value man, which I think is ridiculous. So what are y'all thoughts on just the Black elitist mentality? Oh, a most recent story that happened with this was the True Kitchen situation in Dallas, where that Black owner went off on the Black woman in this restaurant. Yes, they were working, but I felt like the whole restaurant did not need a speech on how we as Black people need to be. He should have been the business owner that he was and took them ladies outside and told them they can politely leave because this isn't an establishment where we twerk. I wouldn't have wanted to be there, sitting there eating my dinner and have to hear a speech about us as Black people. So, but I know I just said a mouthful, but what are y'all thoughts on all of that?
Did you guys watch The Closer with Dave Chappelle? He has this great commentary on it, which reminded me of what you were saying, how there was this, back during slavery, there was this man slave who got his freedom. And then what he did was he got all this money, was able to figure out all these farming, different things. And then he became a slave owner himself. And then he was actually more brutal than the slave owners he had to his own Black slaves. And I think that just sort of speaks to that, where it's, you know what it's like to be judged, you know what it's like to be abused, you know what it's like to be enslaved. And then when you get some type of power, you turn around and do that to your own people, making your people feel less than or not good enough. There's nothing wrong with not having a lot of money. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being darker skinned. Those people should represent the Black community the same way anybody with money or lighter skin does. They're doing the same exact thing. That's why it's so internalized. They now believe it about themselves and about their own community. And then they're going out and they are reiterating the same hate and divisiveness and dehumanization of a certain group of people. So I think it's gross, and I think it's disgusting, and it's very disturbing. And I think that's why we have to really check our own biases, because it's so insidious and it's so institutionalized. You don't even usually consciously realize what you're doing. I didn't know all that about Booker T. Washington. I'm kind of like, I don't want to be Washington right now, but yeah. So to me, that just sounded really crazy. And then to comment to the person who had the whole speech in his restaurant, this Black girl's twerking. The moment somebody says, as Black people or in the Black community, you lost me. You lost me. I'm tired of it. We're done. Every Black person is not a dissertation on what it means to be Black for all of Black people. And we don't do this for other cultures. Did you think an Asian man would be like, this is what I mean by Asian people? Or if a white woman was doing it, this is what I mean by white people. We cannot be Karens. You know what I mean? Like, no, they're just allowed to be people. When are we going to give ourselves that same level of grace to just be human beings and to just be people? This is what two women chose to do. That is not a reflection of the entire Black community. So the moment somebody says in the Black community or as Black people, you've lost me.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with you. I didn't want to hear it. That's just how two particular people chose to act. If they were white, they were white. If they were Black, they were Black. If they were Indian, they were Indian. I'm so tired of that. We need to start first allowing us to have our own humanity and our own deservingness and our own value and our own rightful place in this world. And before anybody else is going to do that. So we have to stop preaching about the Black community. How about we're just human beings living? We make mistakes and we do great things. We're just humans.
And can I ask this? Why is it that when people want to talk about fixing our community, they always want to talk about Black women first? Like all the problems in our community are our fault. But Khadi B, go ahead, and then we'll get to some of these comments as well.
I guess on what you just said, Candace, it's very interesting because if we want to talk about like the roles of a woman and the roles of a man, you should be addressing the males. Mm-hmm. Why would you address the women? The women are not the leaders of households. We are not. Mm-hmm. So on that level, that's interesting. I guess I hadn't realized that, but you totally should go to like the head of the house. Why are you not standing up? Why are you not correcting behaviors? Why are you not raising up your sons to be good males and your daughters to be respectable? Not necessarily respectful, but respectable. And as the for the Black elitist, I also didn't know that he wanted to keep us basically enslaved.
Yeah, he with Tuskegee, he has a statue and it's lifting the veil of ignorance off of a slave or a Black person. And the statue itself, I chose to determine what it means for me. Me being a Tuskegee graduate, he did lift the veil and allow me to go to a school where I can go to school with intelligent Black folks that look like me, and also white people, because what people misconstrue about HBCUs, that they're Black schools. No, they are historically Black. They are still regionally accredited, but like any other university in this country. And so all races go to these schools, but they were historically started for Black people at a time when we could not go to basically a predominantly white institution, a PWI. And so when he was the principal, he got a lot of donations. We have buildings named after Rockefeller, just anybody you can think of that was a white self-made man at that time. Ford, they donated to Tuskegee, and they were donating to keep us farming. I'm glad that things have changed. Samaya made a good point. W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington had a debate. They had similar beliefs, but Du Bois was more for everyone versus Booker T. Washington still thinking that there needed to be this select group, which when you think about it, think about the sororities and the fraternities that were started and how there was paper bag tests for them. And so it's a lot. Before I get to the comments, do you ladies want to say anything else before I get to some of these comments?
Just to what you just said, follow the money. Because I'm telling you, green trumps Black or white. And basically what you just said, he had all of these quote unquote beliefs because of who was donating and why they were donating it. So it was greed. It was greed. So always follow the money. Oh, let's keep the Black people farming, so then these rich white people will give me money.
Yeah, and
I'm so sorry.
Follow the money. The green always trumps any other type of color.
And you know what, Candy, we talked about that just the other day with BLM.
Yeah, at the time, think about who he's keeping farming. He's keeping the Black people farming, but are they farming on their own land? That was another issue.
Exactly.
Itself. But I'm gonna get to some of these comments. So Nikki Pooh said, because that was all he knew, and he was someone who had nothing and didn't know how to exist amongst the rich white. And this was the thing. He actually did know how to exist amongst them. His father was white. He was a child or a product of his master. He got free because he was born around the time where Civil War happened, Reconstruction, all of that. And so he was what you would call today a privileged Black person, I guess you could say. Because of having this white father, he was kind of allotted a better life than some of his Black counterparts because he got to go to school. He actually graduated from Hampton University, which is our sister school. And so it, like Booker T. Washington, I know so much because at Tuskegee, when you go there, you have to read his autobiography. Autobiography, Up from Slavery. So I know a lot. Yes.
Out of the fire into the frying pan.
Required the freshman orientation class, which is funny to me. With some of these other topics.
I also wanted to talk to that guy with the restaurant.
Yes, true. And that's what Sophisticated Brad is talking about too. She said he should not have humiliated.
He should not have humiliated. Yeah, he really shouldn't have. But more than just him, we still do this, right? And just bringing it down to something that probably we all watch, like The Housewives, right? Last year, what did Wendy say to Monique? You got the white folks looking at us crazy or whatever it was. Well, not verbatim, but what it was like, you know? Mm-hmm. What the heck? What the heck do you care what they think? Mm-hmm. I could give a flying crap. And that actually is also that internalized. You're internalizing because, oh my gosh, what's the master gonna think? You still think that in your head. You may not think slave master, but it's still ingrained in your head. You have to behave around the white folks. Don't let them see you this way. Change the way you speak, the way you act, the way you talk. All of these things, which I would never do, even growing up. I had an experience. It was a slight, it was a microaggression. I was like somewhere around 18, 19. I was working as a waitress at a hotel. And my manager, this white woman, said to me, hey, little girl. And I said, who the F you think you talking to? I am a grown ass woman.
Not little girl.
Yes, little girl. Now, you know, first of all, when you like 18, 19, you already feeling yourself. You grown.
Yeah.
I have never stood for anything like that. Like I told before on my channel, like, to hell with a job. You will not speak to me any type of way. And I told her, who the hell do you think you talking to? Mm-hmm. I am a grown woman. Mm-hmm. And you know what? From that day on, I called her little girl every time I see her. What's up, little girl? Hey, little girl. What you gonna do?
That is hilarious. And yeah, shout out to TU. But it said my grandfather finished from TU in 1937. He tells the story because he was acutely intelligent. He went from working in the field to assist in teaching at TU. He became a county agent. So that is good. Okay. And I want to go back to Nihar's comment. She is exactly correct. With a lot of HBCUs, they have the A&M or T in the name because it stands for agricultural, mechanical, and technical. They basically wanted to teach us to do things that we work with our hands versus actually being doctors and lawyers and scientists. So, yes.
I cannot. I'm sitting over here just literally saying to myself, I cannot.
Yes. And hey, Fox counselor. There is such a thing as public decorum. Yes. Mm-hmm. Going back to the True Kitchen thing. Now that going back to that, I didn't agree with the girls twerking, but the man was playing throw the ass in a circle. Excuse my language.
So how are you gonna play that song
at the
and
restaurant?
then get mad when you actually do it? Boy, bye. I gotta look this up. I gotta look this up. Go ahead, Casey.
I will say this: the ladies, the way that they were dancing, they were standing on his boobs, like standing up, dancing and twerking, which it was a bit much. But like I said, if I was the restaurant owner, I would have went to them and said, like, "Hey, ladies, it's no dancing in here. Could you please sit down?" And I think someone had asked him 2 or 3 times, but instead of taking them outside the restaurant or getting security, because I would have got security too if they wouldn't have wanted to leave. Instead of getting security just to escort them out, this man yells like a crazy man. And like I said, goes on this long soapbox of a speech about Black people and how we can't have nothing nice and all this other stuff. So,
and see, right then, if I was in the restaurant, I would have told him, man, sit your down.
And also, sir, we talk about nice stuff. You're playing throw your A around. So what exactly did you expect to be thrown around, sir?
How is this a respectable establishment?
I'm super confused. I'm super confused.
This was the club.
And exactly, like you told me to throw it around. Here, catch it. You know what I'm saying? But like, and not to make everything about the housewives, but I'd like to. Again, all people act this way. Not just Black people, but it's when the Black housewives get into an altercation or something is thrown or they're fighting. It's, oh, as Black women. No, y'all are just some reality people who got ratchet on the predominantly white shows. Those girls throw down. They hit each other, they swear at each other, they yell at each other, they break glasses, they flip tables, they go after each other just as ratchet and as gritty and as ghetto, because ghetto is not just Black, as they want to be. But when they do that, it's, okay, and it's all coddled. But when a Black person does it, in general, a Black woman in particular does it, somehow now we're ghetto, we're aggressive, we're angry, we're violent, and it's a commentary on what all Black women are like, and how dare we, as Black women, we have to set this standard, blah, 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 blah. I'm not looking to Bravo Housewives to set the standard for anybody. I'm watching you because it's a good kiki and it's entertainment.
Yes.
The white girls fight and the Black girls fight. They're all ratchet and they're all ghetto and they're all violent, to be perfectly honest. But that's why we're watching it.
and BB and my kiddo, what's tea? Like, I'm seeing that
the video
made off of a comment.
She made a post about wanting to
Wait, who was that?
Somebody tweaking.
Twerking.
I mean, twerking.
I think I remember something like this. And twerking is not African culture. Please stop that. It's not. Dancing
exactly, young Rich.
Twerking is not.
Yeah.
Let's stop. Oh gosh, y'all know how I feel about a narrative.
Yeah. I like sophisticated brass comments. She said, I have to admit I was guilty of changing the way that I spoke depending on who I was speaking to, because I was always accused of talking while or dumbing down myself. So I'll say something to that. I've talked the same my whole life. Some people call it proper, some people call it ghetto. I lived in Wisconsin and in Milwaukee. Samaya knows because we're from the same place. Talking like how I talk, they would say I talk white. I go to Maryland. They're like, oh, I love your ghetto girl accent. When I'm
ghetto girl accent. People actually knew the definition of ghetto.
I said, all my life I've been told I talk so white, which offended me a little bit, because when you talk like this, which to me is just talking proper, proper English. When you talk like this, sometimes in our community, they like kind of make fun of you. They think you're a square. They think like, moved to Maryland, and they was like, I love your ghetto girl talk. I said, whoa.
Wow.
It's like we were saying behind the scenes, you can't please everybody. So just please yourself. And it's exactly what you're saying. You could talk one way here. Oh, you talk white. You talk the Semitic way here. Oh, you talk ghetto. You're never going to please everybody. So just please yourself. I get it all the time. People always think I'm a little white girl. They don't think I'm an adult. They don't think I'm Black all the time. And I'm just like, whatever. This is how I talk and this is who I am. And I'm not going to change it. And it is what it is. It's what it is.
Yeah. I have never, ever, ever changed the way that I speak, act, talk around white folk. Well, actually, I sort of take that back because I go out of my way to try to make them uncomfortable.
Khadi.
It's the truth. I will stare them down until they look to the ground.
That was an unexpected turn.
It is what it is.
Actually.
I will stare them down until they look to the ground. I never, ever call them Mr. or Miss. It's always buddy, you, guy, dude, what's it like? No, you don't get any of that from me.
Well, being in the South, you know, everybody wants to be called ma'am and sir. And being up north, I didn't call my elders that. So being down here, I had to learn to say yes, ma'am, and no, sir. And well, my grandmother, I did say ma'am. I actually thought that was her name. Instead of calling her grandma, I called her ma'am.
The only, like, in the military, that's it, because you have to, it's either rank or, like, for officers, you know, sir, ma'am, whatever. But outside of that, you would never.
But I think it
I
goes
do it.
back-
I go to the grocery store. I will stare them down till they look to the ground.
Oh no. But I think it goes back to what we were talking about before. It's the propaganda, narrative, and conditioning. Like, what does talking white mean? Sounding educated, proper, intelligent, putting, like, you know, so it's all of the positive attributes of what it sounds like is white, right? But then all of what we consider to be those negative attributes. Oh, you sound ignorant, you sound country, you sound ghetto, you sound this. Oh, well, that means you sound black. So you have to remember that it's still trying to put people in certain categories. And it's like, what does it mean to talk white?
Mm-hmm.
You use big words, you have a good vocabulary. Is it the cadence? All of what we consider to be those positive attributes. Oh, well, you're trying to be white. Why? Because only white people are intelligent. Only white people can have a high vocabulary. Only white people talk like this. So it's, again, that conditioning that if you are this way, then white is right. And if you are this way, then you're less than or ignorant. And the way someone talks is not an indication of intelligence. Because if you go down to the deep South, you have people who talk, I can't do it. But
well, you have the Gullah dialect, which I love. Like, I hope one day I trace my roots back to the Gullah people.
Yeah, right. And it's not an indication of intelligence. The same way your skin color, your eye color, your hair texture, the way you speak are not indications of your worth or your value. And even if you're smarter or not smarter, you're still a worthy, valuable, deserving human being who just on that alone is worthy and deserving of love and respect. And it's just a way to divide. And it's a way to say, these are the people who are deserving and these are the people who aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree.
Very well said. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Sophisticated Brat said, or they're shocked when they meet me because they say I sound white, OMG. And I also carry my mother's last name, which is Italian. When they see me, it's, what are you doing with an Italian name? Yeah, I can see that.
That
is super ignorant.
Well, what are we doing with Italian name? Literally all of us have a white name. Like, the last name
and I would have been
ignorant.
Washington's a slave name.
I would have said that was my master's last name.
My master. Oh, I just went and stole me this Italian name. I just went and stole it. I stole me this name. I just put it on.
Yes. People can be so ignorant. But
so ignorant.
Loretta Banks said, in the South, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir is given, but you always make eye contact. That is definitely correct. BB said, I lived in the South and all I heard was you talk white. Like, what? You guys aren't even black. That's what And Sophisticated Brad agreed with you, Candy. She said it's very offensive.
It is.
Across the world, whatever language it is, matters how you speak, not just Black Americans.
Exactly.
And Samaya said, my hubs had to correct my white mother-in-law when she said I speak so well. He said, compared to whom, Mom? What does that mean? Yeah, That's
it was like again, Housewives, when Heather said to Ebony, she was like, "Oh, you're so eloquent," and it was just like, "Oh, what? How did you expect me to speak?" You know, it's like, "What did you think?" Oh, because Black women aren't eloquent, so you're surprised that I am. You see, so it's like those things where it's just like absolutely crazy and ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Right. Young Rich said some of the richest people talk like that. Letitia, for example, and she was allegedly a teacher.
That's that event.
Or did I say
Not
the name
Tisha.
right? Letitia?
Yeah,
Yes.
Letitia from Love and Marriage Huntsville.
Yes, event.
Even Young Rich, you be tripping. You wildin', yeah. You wildin'.
So those are all my thoughts on that topic. We have one more topic. Are y'all ready to get to it?
Yes, let's go.
So alpha woman / female.
Dun, dun, dun.
Do they exist? The reason why I asked this is because many years ago in my dating life, I had told a man that I was dating that I was an alpha woman or alpha female. He was like, that doesn't exist. You can't be an alpha female. You can't be in control. I'm like, what? So how does alpha male exist but not alpha female? So what are your thoughts on that? Because alpha female, well, I'll say this before I end. So it's been a couple of things. Sometimes men in general, Black men, equate alpha to being a strong Black woman, but in not knowing how to be the wife or the person that submits in the home, which that's a whole nother topic in itself with submitting. The reason why I consider myself an alpha female or an alpha woman is because when I go to work, that's the personality that I have. I've always been in leadership and management, and there was a reason why I was there. I feel I am very intelligent. I'm a leader. I'm the oldest of my siblings. So I have a personality where I do like to be in control and set the standards. Now, with these three ladies, I don't do it. I'm very hands-off. I'm very hands-off. It's refreshing to be around other young Black women that know how to speak for themselves.
Yeah.
So what are y'all thoughts on this term? Do alpha women exist?
I can go. So I think, and I agree with you, Candace, I think we're very collaborative, and I think that we're all alphas, all three of us. And I think that's another reason why we work so well together. And I think we have a very collaborative spirit. I think a lot of times people get certain things confused. Like there's alpha female, alpha male, or woman, whichever people prefer to say. I'll just say female, and I mean it in a good way, a positive way, versus feminine and masculine energies. And those are two different things. And I think sometimes they conflate the two, but they're separate. Alpha and beta are personality types, right? Feminine and masculine are energy flows. It's how you can show up. It's how you can switch on and off, right? Like I think that I'm an alpha female, and that's my personality type. However, I can be more masculine at times. Like right now, I'm in my masculine energy because I'm talking. I have to have a point of view. I have to be able to take the comments, give it back, and be authoritative and speak with being assertive and being on, right? But then I'm also able to flip into my feminine more when I need it. So then I can be more submissive and more gentle and more nurturing and more loving. So there's different energy sets, but I think alpha and beta are personality types. And I think when it comes to alpha, they're more or leadership people. They are more assertive. They are more people just naturally come to them for guidance, and they're more decisive. Where beta people, I don't think alpha versus beta is positive or negative. I think both attributes have positive attributes in it and negative, but I don't think either one of them is negative or positive. They're just different personality types, like being introverted or extroverted. And then I think beta is more of someone who doesn't really mind being almost that more like worker bee mentality. They like to have someone who has a leader, they can follow that. They like being part of the group and that sort of thing. So I definitely think that alpha women 100% exist. I think in friendship groups, you definitely know who's the HBIC? Who is the queen bee? Who is the alpha? Who's the leader? Who's the one who's decisive? Who do the women look to for guidance? And then you have the betas, who are the ones who fall in line a little bit more than that. For example, let's talk about, I don't particularly like their personalities, but look at Robin and Giselle. That friendship, Giselle is clearly the alpha and Robin is clearly the beta. Whether or not their particular dynamic is healthy or not, it's a little codependent as well. But I think just for everybody knows who those people are, just for like an overall reference, you see that. So yes, I definitely think alpha women exist. There are natural leaders. There are natural women who people go to for guidance within friendship groups, at work. But then there's also going in between your masculine and your feminine energy, which is something completely different. And it seems to me like the guy on that date, I don't think he actually understood what a true alpha woman was. And to me, I don't know if he's alpha or beta, but he sounds very insecure. And he sounds very not confident in his own masculinity and his own manhood. And so he therefore is threatened by the idea of a strong, confident alpha woman, because he doesn't know what to do with her and he doesn't know how to handle her. And his own masculinity and manhood is threatened by that. Because I think a true confident man, a true alpha man, knows how to lead an alpha woman, but also be in partnership with her. And I think those are the healthiest dynamics where the man, like whether or not your personality is alpha or beta, the man is still able to be a leader, but in partnership with his woman. And I think he just probably has his own issues and he probably needs some therapy and he probably doesn't know the definition of these things.
Correct. I agree. Khadi, what are your thoughts? And hello to Don't Tell Me, Tell the People, Sunny, Mel MC, and Barbara Parker, Freckles. Hey, everybody.
Oh man. Honestly, I had never really thought about it from the female standpoint. Like I always, you'd be like alpha male, or I've never really thought about it. But hearing you guys give your perspective on it, I'm like, okay, I guess that does make sense, because for some reason I was thinking like an alpha woman, like somehow that would make her alpha over a man. And I'm like, no. But hearing y'all talk about it, I'm like, okay, yeah, there are leaders. There's leaders in males, there's leaders in females. And I mean, we see that. So where I was kind of like, I don't know about that, I'm kind of now like, okay, I can see that, because I guess I'm pretty opinionated. I'm in your face type of person. So
Khadi, you are so alpha. Like, are you kidding me? You are like the girl.
I thought you were more of an alpha female than me and Candy.
100%.
I'm so like, normally I am so quiet, but then again, like I said, that's mostly because I usually don't even care about the things that are happening around me. I'll be like, oh, it's unimportant.
Yeah. Yep. You're alpha without strength.
Yes, Khadi, you are very alpha. Very alpha.
Yeah, I guess because I was thinking, well, I mean, if there was like some sort of friendship group, and I think all of us, we're very like on equal level footing. I don't think any of us sort of takes the reins in the behind the scenes. Check out our behind the scenes one day.
I know.
Coming soon.
Vlog our behind the scenes chats.
Yes.
Or do
also let us know if you want to do like an after dark of the ladies lounge.
After dark of the ladies lounge, where it gets crazy.
But I guess, yeah, I totally agree with you guys. I just never really thought about it, honestly, because I was just like, alpha, that's a man, right? And then I can't be alpha over my husband. He's my freaking husband. But then I think about it and I'm like, man, I always do got something to say. When I say something, I always got something to say. When I don't say nothing, I'm pretty freaking quiet. But
Oh, here goes my best friend talking about I want to see that.
Bow, chicka, bow,
But
bow.
I want to go back to
Yes, After Dark.
Yeah, not to cut you off, Khadi.
Oh, no, you're good.
Your point. Okay. So Young Rich said, I also hate the narrative that a strong woman have to be a certain way to like. They have to be tomboyish, not wear heels and makeup. Like I can still wear heels and makeup and be girly and strong. And yes, that is exactly myself. I am very like I can be a pit bull and I'm not a female dog, but I can be a pit bull in the boardroom, in the office, wherever I am. But when I come home, I still want to be nurtured. I still want to be treated like a lady. Yep. And it's nothing wrong with that. And it's like, I don't know why people think you have to be just one way. We are people that are multifaceted. There's many different sides to us. And I just wish people would be okay with accepting that. Like, I don't think anyone is just one way.
Right. So. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, I told my husband one day, like, it's actually really freeing to just like give you the reins and just let me be like chilling. It's all your decision. I don't care. I'm over here, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's really freeing. I don't understand why women like to fight for it from the man. Let him have it. Let him have all the responsibility. Let him stress. You go get you some ice cream or something.
And thank you, Bestie. This is his actual page, so he must really like it. He's giving money from his other.
Thank you.
Make it rain. Make it rain. Make it rain. Make it rain. No,
I check this out. Check this.
Ooh.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And what you're talking about, again, it goes to both of what you're saying. Being able to flow from your masculine energy and your feminine energy, because all people have both. Mm-hmm. We both have those aspects, and you amp it up when you have to amp it up, when you have to have those particular attributes, and you can turn them down and turn them up, and you can be an alpha woman and still go home and go into your feminine and be like, baby, I just want you to handle this, right? So it's knowing what things mean and what things are, and then also redefining what strong means. Like, I think that there's been an unhealthy definition or narrative or view about what it means to be a strong woman. You know, true mental, emotional, and spiritual strength is taking breaks. It's asking for help. It's getting support. It's not thinking you have to do everything on your own. It's not holding things in. It's being able to, and I think to Khadi's point, I think it's being able to get to a point where you trust yourself enough to know that you can trust the right man to take care of you. Because I think a lot of times with women who feel like they can't let the man lead, they have to do everything themselves, it's probably from some trauma or not feeling that they are safe to give the reins away. Because just like you said, you came in, it was like a relief. So I think the people who haven't found a partner, but you're lucky enough that you found a safe partner. I think a lot of times people don't have safe partners that they can say, you hold it down. Just because you have a man or a woman in your life, it doesn't mean that man or woman is actually in the position to be a healthy partner to you. Right. So I think a lot of women don't want to be that way, but they've either been conditioned or had some type of abuse or trauma or something happening in their childhood where they're not able to be in a place to trust themselves enough to give up control, because it's all about control. They don't trust themselves to give up control, and they may not have a partner who is trustworthy of giving it over. And so I think that happens a lot. And we were talking about this before, again, like, oh, strong Black women, they don't want the man to lead, the Black man. A lot of times that also happens. And then young Black boys will end up resenting their single moms, but they're resenting the parent who stayed. A lot of times it's the single, and I'm not saying a lot of times because there are and I don't mean to say like in the Black culture, and this is by no means bashing Black men. There are so many amazing Black husbands and so many amazing Black fathers. So I don't mean that, but I mean that sometimes what happens is children will resent the parent that stayed because they're not able to mourn the parent that they didn't have. So a lot of times these women don't want to be masculine and feminine, but they are pushed in that position. They have to go out there and work or their family's not going to eat. They have to go out and work. They have to go out and put this front up. They feel like they have to go out and do everything. And then they're so exhausted and they're so spread out that it's probably really hard for them to switch out of the masculine, especially if they're not with someone that they feel that they can trust their femininity with. Because you have to really be able to trust someone to be that vulnerable, authentic, giving self. Because you have to trust that that person isn't going to hurt you or let you down, or your children for that matter. So I can see how it can be really, really hard to step out of that control, step out of that anger, because I would be really angry if I was left holding the bag for me and my whole family.
Yeah.
Whether the guy left, passed away, whatever the situation is, I would be very angry that this is what has happened to me. So that's where all those tropes come from. Strong Black woman, angry Black woman, you can't give up, blah, 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 blah. It's not by choice. It's not by choice. And a part of it is, unfortunately, by design.
Oh, yes.
What we've been talking about with slavery, what did they do to us? They separated us. They separated the families. They tried to break up the core unit. And then they want to be like, oh, Black women have all these baby fathers. Oh, Black men aren't around to raise their children, blah, blah, blah. But you tried to kill our family unit. But you didn't succeed because we're still here.
Isn't it interesting though that back in slavery as Black women they wanted us to have as many children as we could. The masters were having sex with us. They were basically breeding us. And then after slavery and Reconstruction, all this happened. Anytime a Black woman has a child, she's always looked at as this woman that just all she does is have kids, or she's a single mom and all of that. So I do feel is some type of connection in that type of mindset that definitely needs to be explored. And I'm sorry, Khadi, I'm gonna get to you in a second. I do want to highlight this is my best friend again with one of his other pages. So thank you. Make sure you subscribe. He's hilarious to me with all his pages. But some of these comments, I wanted to go back to Mel MC. She said it's a double-edged sword, though. I was very well taken care of by my husband of 25 years, and then he was gone, and I was lost.
So, see, can I say on that, though, there's a difference between being dependent financially. I am a strong advocate for all women to have separate money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, when I'm like, let the husband lead, I'm not saying to set yourself up to be destitute. Never that. I am a strong advocate because you just never know what can happen. You never know. Best of intentions, whatever. You just never know. So I'm always a strong advocate for every woman to have your own.
100%.
But yeah, I'm totally sorry that happened.
Oh, were you going to say anything else on the topic before I go to some of the other comments, Khadi?
On that one, no.
All right. Well, so Maya said it's okay to be taken care of, but don't forget to take care of yourself too. Nothing is forever or guaranteed. Remember to be your own advocate, and that is definitely correct.
Yes. Yep. You know what? I did have something to say.
Okay, go ahead.
I think a lot of times, when women hear submit to your husband, what they're actually hearing is slavery, oppression, and that's not the same thing.
Right.
The each individual in the relationship is equal, but they have separate and different responsibilities. So I think that be the disconnect. You'd be like, you got to submit to your husband, and I ain't submitting to him, and you're like, how is this some sort of an issue?
People forget that scripture because it also says submit to each other.
Oh wait,
it also says the husband is the head who's supposed to be submitting to God. The wife is the neck. So you're really submitting to each other, because without that neck holding up that head, he's not gonna be anything. And so that's one scripture gets misconstrued and misunderstood so much. We can go down a rabbit hole with that. We do need to talk about that as well. These will be some other shows. I'm gonna make sure I write down some of these topics. Younger said, and sometimes you might be with the wrong man. He's low down and don't do nothing. The right man will make sure or make you want to submit and open up in more ways than once.
Exactly. You have to make sure you submit to a man who not only has his intentions in mind, but your intentions and your children's intentions, where he's family minded, fairly oriented, and it's a unit, and he is operating with the best intentions of the family unit in mind. You can't submit to everybody. That's why you need that discernment of who you choose to be with. Who you marry and who you have children with are two of the most important decisions you will ever make in your life. So you have to be very, very careful.
Yes. And look, let me tell you, my ex was the trashiest of piece of trash. Like, literally.
We've all been there, girl.
Girl. I would not cook for him. I wouldn't clean for him. I would make a meal. He'd be like, oh, I'm hungry. I'd be like, I just got done eating. Ain't none left. Like, I don't care, dude. I don't care. Scrounge for yourself. Like, liver. Dude, please just go away. Like, that's literally. But when I met my husband, I actually want to submit to him. Like, it actually makes me happy to go and do things for him, to cook for him and make sure he's okay. So you'll kind of, if it's right, you kind of feel it. You'll kind of know, like, I really want, he is such a good man that I want to be doing these things for him. Because I'm telling you, the other one, I was hoping that he would start something.
He was safe to submit to. You have to make sure that your partner is a safe space for you. And unfortunately, with dating and marriages, people aren't always safe.
Right. Yes. Run that money sound again. Thank you so much.
I got so many sounds on here.
Gotta sow another seed on this word. Great convo. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. Because he wasn't
the one.
He wasn't the one. And y'all can go check out my story time. I'm gonna do
not the trashiest piece of trash.
I think I'm gonna do an story time on my divorce story. Shout out to Reparation. She was like, don't tell them nothing she was like, be careful with what you share. And I definitely loved her coming and saying that, being supportive. Like, sometimes people don't realize the impact they have in your life with the smallest things. And the fact that she cared, I don't know, maybe I was being emotional that day. I was like,
okay.
Yes, it's
shout out to Reparation.
Yeah.
But I love her. I do want to go back to Mel MC's comment. She said, I had separate money, but I had no credit in my name. I knew nothing of running the home or where the money from our businesses was. It's all on me, and I wish I had friends like y'all back then.
Oh, we have friends like us now. We're so sorry.
Yeah, I'm totally sorry that happened.
Yeah.
Yes, but I like that everybody is enjoying our conversation.
Thank you. No, my parents are great role models. Splitting things to one another. Yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. And hey, Queen of Cheesecake, I was waiting on you, girl. Abiel was here. Miss Genevieve said, question, if both in a relationship are alpha, how would you recommend to how or who makes the final decision? So I can speak for myself. Me and my husband are both alpha people. And a lot of times he's still traditional. So a lot of times I have to tell him how I feel about certain decisions being made, because in the beginning, he was just making decisions like, I'm the man of the house. I'm like, do you know I feel disrespected when you don't talk to me about certain things that go on, or when you don't tell me that, like, say we have an issue. There was an issue earlier in our marriage, and he didn't share it with me, and the issue got worse. And so I said, had you have talked to me about this and let me know what was going on, I could have came with ideas. With you not trusting me and my input, I feel real disrespected. Yep. And so we've come far in a relationship. It's definitely about communication, because in the end, men are always going to be, they feel like they're the head. And they are. Sometimes I have a hard time saying that.
But the neck tells the head where to go.
Yeah. So, but I always tell him, at least give me the common courtesy of having just a conversation with me. Because I want to give my input. Like, you don't, and that's the thing. I want to tell him, you don't have to always do it by yourself, because I know, being a human, you don't want to have to always save the day and always have to make the decision. So allow me to help you do that. So that, as me being married and is with two alphas, that's how we handle it.
Yeah, I totally agree, Candace. Like, you know, he's the head, and you know, 9 times out of 10, whatever he's talking about. But if I want to get something done, and maybe he's just like, well, I want to do it this way. Look, the woman's power, and I'm gonna tell you this, is our femininity. It's not the masculinity. Don't challenge the man with the masculine energy. Men don't respond to other masculine energy like that. Come at the man with the femininity. That is where your power lies, okay? You can get him to do damn near anything with your femininity.
Yes. Yes. Any thoughts on anything else before we end? Any final thoughts? Candy or Khadi?
I love that we're all alpha women. I love it.
You know what? I wonder what a beta would we make the beta do stuff?
No, I would never do that. No,
I was yeah, all the time.
No, I wouldn't do that. I would. It's not about making them do stuff, but I do feel like sometimes they want to be tasked with doing things. So in order to feel needed, or maybe they need direction, or maybe they don't. I don't know. It just depends. But no, I wouldn't be making them do that.
Yeah. And look, I'm just joking. I'm not in the habit of forcing people to do things against their will. Okay.
Yeah. And again, I don't think alpha's bad or beta's bad. I just think it's just what your personality type is. Like introverted, like I'm alpha, but I'm also introverted. I'm not an extroverted alpha by any means. So I think it's just like, again, with like introverted versus extroverted, do you get your cup full by being around people and that energy? You're extroverted, or are you introverted? Do you fill your cup back up when you're by yourself and you're alone time and creative and connected? So I think it's just being authentic to who you are, having great boundaries. And like you guys said, I think communication in any type of relationship, romantic, friendship, family, coworker, it just goes down to communication and mutual respect and knowing what the values are. And I forgot who asked the question. I'm personally not in a relationship, but how I would work with that would be whatever the issue we were going to and about the final decision. I think it should always be a joint decision rooted in what are our common values and what decision is most like what we value as a couple or as a family.
Agreed. Well,
yes. And I'm totally an introvert too.
Oh,
I'm an introvert.
So introverted.
I'm an introvert as well.
Like when you would work for corporations or whatever and things like that, and they want you, it's a customer service, and I'm like, man, I don't like customers. I don't like people. Tell them to stop talking to me. Like,
well, no, I'm an introvert as well, but I've been in sales for now the past 15 years of my career, so I have to turn it on. But I do like to keep to myself. That's why even with friendships and even sometimes with you all, like, and I think I said this earlier, I answer things with one word. Yeah. I have my own boundaries. And so sometimes I need just my space. I don't know. I be in my head sometimes where it's like, let me just chill.
Totally.
And that's just the introvert in me. But it does not mean I love anybody any less. I didn't
even notice, to be perfectly honest.
I didn't notice either.
I was like, one word. I was like, okay.
Oh, and thank you, Samaya.
Wait, what did the other person say about her son?
Oh yeah, her son finds you attractive.
Oh, see, I said yes. We're working on it.
Thank you, Chi-Town. That's so sweet. I appreciate it.
Yes. Please make sure you subscribe to these ladies, Khadi B and Candy Washington. We always have a great time. Let me take this better down. We always have a great time here in the Ladies Lounge. We probably will do a after dark soon. I just don't even know. Are y'all ready to get pajamas on?
I know, right?
Pajama party with our wine and really
get
I
into
don't
it.
drink.
Connie's
drink, guys.
Connie's gonna make us some sexy beats.
Oh, because I'm doing yes,
Sexy
'cause I have
beats
my
by Connie.
Yes. Yes.
Sexy beats by
yes,
Connie.
because I have another channel that I'm getting up. I have about 5 videos up there, and it's for like they call them lo-fi beats and stuff. So real smooth melodies to you want to meditate, sleep, study. You just need to unwind. Maybe you out on a walk and you just want some real soothing sounds. That's what I got on my other channel.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see. I don't know if I can drop. I'm not a mod. I can't drop any links.
Cat in the chat said we need an emoji for Khadi too.
Oh yes, and you know, I haven't exactly named my people, although I like to think we're truth tellers over there because I give you hard facts, straight no chaser, right?
Oh, you should be the whiskey thing. Even though you don't drink, you should be that because you give it to a straight no chaser.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I'll drink for you.
Now, look, I have drunk alcohol before, but even back when I did drink alcohol, I wasn't a big drinker. My idea
I'm
of
a lightweight.
was a strawberry daiquiri. Okay,
I'm a
if
lightweight.
it wasn't fruity, I wouldn't drink it.
After one glass of wine, I'm loopy. That's why I don't drink on my lives, because I don't have a tolerance. I'll drink a glass, and I'm like, you guys, yeah.
Oh.
Nobody wants to see that.
Okay, yeah.
Chi-Town said, where is my membership to join?
Yes.
I decided that when I get to 5,000 subscribers, which that's my next goal, I'll start the membership. So when I get there, that's when my goal for myself.
Okay.
But y'all are welcome to send super chats, super stickers. I didn't put my cash up. I'd rather just the super chats and super stickers.
The hard liquor emoji.
Yes, the hard liquor straight no
I guess straight no chaser.
Straight no chaser.
That's how I give it to you. I realize that people don't necessarily, maybe they don't like it. I also don't care.
I think me and Chi-Town
straight no chaser.
We're on the same tip.
Straight tequila 6 shots.
Oh my God.
Ooh,
no.
Tequila.
I can't even do shots.
Yeah. But this was fun. We're going to go ahead and end it now. Yes, reparations on the road to 5K. I'm going to get there. Oh, and shout out to Robin. I love Robin because she's always like support check-in. Every time I see her comments, support check-in. I look for your comments, Robin. But
why do I have music in my head right now? I'm over here like, okay.
Oh, Queen Cheesecake.
Eddie, you a good girl.
Well, this was fun. We're gonna go ahead and end it here. I guess that's it. Make sure you subscribe to both ladies, Candy Washington, Khadi B, and then myself, the Candy Shop. We do the Ladies Lounge every week. It's a rotating panel. Next week it will be on Khadi B's channel. I don't even know what we're talking about. I know it's gonna be good. Make sure you all have a good night. I'm about to play our outro.
Yes. Throw me some straight no chaser shots in the chat.
Yes. Oh yeah. Put some shots in the chat. I want to see that before we go off. Put some shots in the chat.
Some shots in the chat.
I love.
We got the candy, but we need the shots.
Yeah.
Shot.
Candy like peer pressure.
Candy Washington. When I think of your channel, I think of the suckers, and then I'm the little candy pieces. And
yeah.
So
I'm the candy cake, and you're the little candy pieces. Shot.
Yes. Hey. Yes.
I think it's perfect. We got that candy liquor.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
We got that candy liquor.
That's the only type I like is the sweet can.
That's a blues song, but it's nasty. It's called Candy Liquor. That's
What?
right. That's for After Dark.
I know, right? We could totally. Oh my God, After Dark is gonna be lit.
Yay! Look at all of us.
Yes.
Shot.
Candy shots. How about that? Not candy liquor, candy shots.
Candy shots.
Well, all right. I'm gonna go ahead and play our outro.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.